coyotes because they tend to lay up as much as they do hole up. Now, there are obviously variables in the hunting world. There's never and always, and there's always a never. Coyotes and foxes, the higher the pressure is in the area. So if you and I are hunting a public land where there's a big clear cut, it's 3/4 mile wide, I can pretty much tell you that between grouse, rabbits, pheasants, deer season, bear season, quad runners, nature mushroom pickers, and what have you, someone has walked through that brush pile, through that half acre of clear cut, one time or the other in the last month and a half to 2 months. If you've got private property, secluded property, far north, remote areas, more chance of a coyote being laid up, sitting on top of the snow, resting, than there is underneath. I want to optimize my shooting and hunting opportunities, so you have to ask yourself, where would I be if I wanted to lay out today on the snow and it's 0 out here today? Would I be in the shaded side of a hill, under a stump, in the cold, damp snow? Or would I be laying on a sunny spot? And by the way, today's a perfect example. Today it was 0 degrees, but there was sun out there. Most all of the animals have enough dark fur in, they will absorb heat. And if you don't believe me, all you do is take your house in the morning, close all the curtains, open one curtain about this far when the sun comes up, and watch where your cat and dog lay down. They will lay down in that sunny spot on the floor, absorbing that nice warm heat. My cats crawling up the radiator on a cold day. Hot day in the summertime, they're laying on a tile floor trying to cool down. So where am I going to be tomorrow? I'm going to call the sunny side of the hill. If you want to call the shaded side, God bless you, go ahead. There could be coyotes over there, they could be over there hunting, they could be out. But I'm going to optimize my chances, and I'm going to go on the sunny side of the hill. What else does it have to do with the sunny side of the hill? The first place the snow melts off on New Year's Day, the sunny side of my mountain in my valley is very steep. Right now the sun's low in the horizon because of the way the earth is tilted. It's a lot of science. But the sunny side of the hill was melted off. The only place that had snow was flat tram roads, low spots, and craters. The exposed sides were down to bare grasses. I seen 3 gobblers that day, all scratching on the side of the hill, picking at the fresh shoots coming up, because it is getting into almost February now. So they're on the sunny side of the hill. Where are the chickadees and juncos and the mice going to come out first? Sunny side of the hill. If you were a rabbit going to lay your eggs and have a rabbit nest, where would you go? Sunny side of the hill. You know what I'm saying? So that's where most of your game animals are going to gravitate to. If you ever step in any rabbit eggs, let me know, all right? Fox love rabbit eggs. So that being said, I'm going to optimize my chances by being on the sunny side of the hill as opposed to the shaded side of the hill. The guy said, well, that's a pretty good idea, I want to do that. But keep in mind, nothing trumps woodsmanship. If the sunny side of the hill is a plowed dirt field, and the shady side of the hill is a 10-acre clear cut, you're more than welcome to call the plowed dirt. I will call the shaded side of the hill in the thicket and the brush and the boogerberry briars. Because you and I both know you can't sneak through it quietly, and guys who have shot or seen coyotes during deer season on drives, they say, hey, the guys come through the thicket and the drive, I'll come 2 coyotes, I got a crack at one of them, missed a buck, went out the other side. They heard them coming first, they smelled them coming, or they seen them coming. But you know what? They were getting out ahead of the drivers. On that plowed dirt field, it's quiet walking. He's going up there somehow. You can walk right up on him. He has no idea you're coming. Use your woodsmanship. If it's better habitat over here and no habitat over there, is he feeding here and living there? You've got to ask yourself those questions. If I'm a fox, got to make a den, I want to make it on the sunny side of the hill. Why? The soil's going to be softer earlier, because it's going to thaw out quicker than the shaded side of the hill. The snow's going to be over there. When this thing here, there's no snow on it all, so the soil's softer. I can make a birthing chamber inside my den if I want to have pups in a den or a whelping area. I can have the pups come out and they're going to have better chance of me not having to go 2 miles for food. I can go 50 yards and catch a bird, come back and feed my young. You know, so the female coyote, female fox is going to travel less distance on that sunny side of the hill, so they're going to den more on sunny sides of hills. This time of year, you may see 2 red fox set up together out in the sun. If you want to take both the red fox, and you know I'm not quick enough, I'm by myself, I got an 85-yard shot, you spot them sitting out there, you want to shoot the bottom fox first, because the bottom fox is generally going to be your female fox. The male fox will set usually a higher position. Coyote, very similar. If you see 2 coyotes laying side by side, one's higher on a hummock or a little lower on the hill, the lower one is generally female, the males watch it over because it is breeding season, they keep an eye on their mate. That being said, you shoot the female, the male's probably got to book and take off. He may stop and look back to see if she's coming, or he's going to come back to the area and pick her up later on because that's his breeding. That's the part of the sex we work on. All right. Early in this fall, red fox can be barked in. You know, it's not difficult to do. It's a raspy, yappy bark. Gray fox is going to be a raspier, deeper bark. It's more of a threatening bark. Anybody ever been out calling fox before? Anybody? Have you heard a gray fox bark at you? That deep, raspy. Your best bet, start walking to it. If a gray fox is doing that, he's letting you know that he smells you, he's seen you, he doesn't like the setup. I've only ever killed 2 or 3 that way, but I've never had one come in and got shot while barking. I've made a move on him, got the call playing, moved out around him, set up on him, got a shot at him that way, or started walking towards him, got a 40-yard shot, killed him that way. But I've never had a gray fox come in after doing a raspy bark. Usually it's a warning bark. Usually you'll hear it from the downwind side. They start barking, I'm going to start barking back, let them know another gray fox is there. They want to come together, I'll take my chances. But I have killed several of them from that barking. Red fox, October, when the pups are getting whelped, they're out on their own, that short, yelpy bark. Take a little lap dog and smack them in the ass if you have to. That little yappy bark, not near as raspy, you can call fox in on that. Red fox pup in distress works also very well in that first 2 weeks of the season, October 16 to about 1st of November. After November gets around, gets into December, I get into more prey species. Again, food's drying up on them, they're not near as social. This time of the year, from December 1st to the 10th, on to about March, clear into about June, gray fox and red fox are often paired up. So when you're running the call, you shoot one, don't go woohoo, go pick it up. Keep the call playing. If you have to, change the sound, change the volume, look for the pair. Always comes in twos about this time of year. Not always, but again, a lot of times you'll kill 2. I already had 4 in January come into one spot. Shot all 4 of them. So I keep the call playing. I whacked 3, my partner whacked 1, all with a shotgun. Trust me, a shotgun at night is not a quiet weapon. That gun goes off, it didn't seem to bother them at all. The call kept playing, they kept coming in, boom. 3 of my gray fox were all lay within 6 feet of each other. I kept the call playing. Now, that's part of the experience level. So I tell you guys, that's one of the things, don't fail. You fox them in, boom. If it's your first fox or if it's your last fox, let the call play for 5 or 6 minutes and then go pick it up. Don't just go charge it down and grab it because it could cost you another fur. And again, on some of these hunts, it's a matter of which one's heaviest. You may shoot a nice female that goes 8.6 pounds, and there was a 12.4 pound gray fox, male, coming up behind her. That being said, you shot the one, and the second one was a bigger one. You missed out $250 because you were excited to run down and check your pelt. You're not going to win too many hunts with a 6.5 to 7 pound gray fox. Oh, they're out there. You can win hunts with 10.5 to 12 pound gray fox. Red fox, usually what, 10.5 to 15 pounds on a red fox. A little larger, a little longer legs, will come in more timid, more rodent squeals, a little bit longer shot. Hunting coyotes, if in a heavy brush, I can see 30 yards, no use taking a rifle, I take my shotgun. If I can see 300 yards, no use taking a shotgun, I take my rifle. I can shoot a gray fox, red fox, bobcat, or coyote at 25 feet with a rifle. I can't shoot a coyote or a gray fox at 150 yards with a shotgun. I just can't do it. So that being said, I'm going to choose my weapon accordingly. If I'm going to target red fox, I want open areas with low grasses. They're very timid. They'll come in. I'm expecting a 30 to 150 yard shot on most red fox. If I'm calling coyotes, I'm expecting a 30 to 250 yard shot on a coyote. If I'm calling gray fox, I'm expecting 6 inches to 35 yards. That's what I expect from my shots. If you are just getting into this and you're new to this sport and you want to have success at it, I will take and suggest you start out with the gray fox pup. They're more aggressive and a little faster. I'm going to take a break here. They want to take a break. They have refreshments over here. They have some tickets that need sold and sign-ups for the hunt on this side of the table if you haven't signed up for the hunt yet. And I believe you get refreshments, and there's door prizes will be drawn at half also, right? You're going to choose some door prizes now, I think Tom said also?
We're going to do them at the end of the
door prizes at the end. Okay, go stretch your legs a minute. If you have any questions, ask a question. I'll be more to help you out.